Good morning, let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something that scared you? I mean, really scared you. Not the fear of spiders or public speaking, but the fear of failing, of not being enough, of being pushed past your comfort zone. We all love the idea of growth. Becoming better, stronger, smarter, more resilient, more successful. But here's the part most people avoid. Growth is not comfortable. It doesn't happen when things are easy or predictable. Real growth begins where your comfort zone ends. That's the truth, and it's a hard pill to swallow. Think about the last time you genuinely improved at something. Maybe it was physical, running a faster mile, lifting heavier weight, or pushing through a hard workout. Or maybe it was emotional healing from something painful, learning to say no, stepping up to speak your truth. Whatever it was, chances are it didn't happen while you were relaxed and comfortable. It probably came with struggle, self-doubt, and that little voice in your head saying, I don't know if I can do this. That voice. That's where the edge of your comfort zone lies. And crossing that edge, doing the thing anyway, is where growth begins. David Goggins lives by this idea. This is a man who doesn't just flirt with discomfort, he chases it down and dares it to break him. Why? Because he understands that comfort is the enemy of progress. When you're comfortable, you're stagnant. You settle. You stay the same. And if you stay the same too long, you slowly start to fade. Life isn't meant to be a loop of ease and convenience. It's meant to challenge you, to force you to see what you're made of. That's why stepping out of your comfort zone is so important. Every time you choose to face something hard, every time you do something that scares you or makes you doubt yourself, you grow. You gain something. Maybe it's resilience. Maybe it's confidence. Maybe it's just the proof that you're stronger than you thought. And here's the kicker. The more you do it, the wider your comfort zone becomes. What used to terrify you starts to feel normal. What once felt impossible becomes part of your routine. That's how you evolve. That's how you level up. But none of that happens if you keep choosing safety. Of course, stepping into discomfort doesn't feel good in the moment. That's why so many people avoid it. It feels uncertain. It feels risky. It feels like you might fail, but that discomfort. That's the exact reason it's worth doing. Because when you choose to stay comfortable, you're also choosing to stay. No new skills, no breakthroughs, no story. On the other hand, when you step out, even if you fail, you earn something. You earn experience, you earn grit. You earn the right to say, I tried, I faced it. I didn't back down. And over time, that attitude becomes who you are. You stop waiting for life to get easier and start getting stronger. So the next time you feel fear creeping in or that voice telling you to sit it out, pay attention. That might be the exact thing you need to do. Growth lives there. On the other side of the nerves, beyond the sweat, in the thick of the doubt. Growth doesn't knock politely on your door. It waits just outside your comfort zone, daring you to show up. No risk, no story. No discomfort, no growth. Choose your edge, then lean into it. When we look at people who inspire us, those whose stories seem almost legendary, we often forget one simple truth. Every great story begins with a bold move. It might not have seemed bold in the moment, but in hindsight, it's clear that the choice they made to step out of their comfort zone was the turning point that altered the trajectory of their life. Think about anyone you consider a hero, a trailblazer, or a game changer. Whether it's a well-known figure like Oprah Winfrey, Steve Jobs, or someone in your own life who pushed boundaries, there was always a moment where they took a risk. A moment where they stepped into the unknown, uncertain of the outcome, but driven by something bigger than fear, a belief that they had to act, had to try. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He could have stayed at Atari or worked in a comfortable tech job, but instead, he took the risk of starting Apple with his friends out of a garage with no guarantees of success. The world wasn't asking for Apple. No one knew that a small computer company would transform the tech industry, but he believed. He took a bold move driven by a vision that no one else could see at the time. And while that story eventually became one of the most iconic in tech history, it started with one small decision to risk everything and go for something no one had ever tried before. Now, I'm not suggesting that every bold move will lead to millions or global fame. But what a bold move does is open the door to possibility. It's the first step in a journey of discovery, growth, and sometimes failure. Bold moves lead to opportunities you could never have imagined from the safety of the sidelines. And think of people like David Goggins. His journey from a dead-end job battling obesity and overcoming the difficult childhood didn't start with a perfect plan. It started with a decision to get uncomfortable, to push his body and mind beyond what he thought was possible. He made a bold move, one that at the time might have seemed insane to many. But by taking that leap, by saying, I'm not staying here, I'm going to push forward, he changed his own life and has since become a source of inspiration for millions. The same can be said for anyone who has ever broken barriers. Whether you're starting a new business, deciding to change careers, trying something new in your personal life, or just pushing yourself to run that extra mile, it always begins with a bold decision to step forward. It's that moment when you choose to act instead of staying in the shadows of uncertainty. And while the outcome might not always be clear, the decision itself becomes the foundation for everything that follows. But here's the catch. Bold moves are rarely comfortable. They often come with fear, doubt, and anxiety. It's easy to stay where you are, to play it safe, and to avoid making any move that could lead to failure. But without that boldness, you remain stagnant. Nothing new happens. You don't discover the potential that lies within you. The great stories, the ones that inspire, the ones that change the course of lives, only happen when you have the courage to make that first step into the unknown. So ask yourself, what bold move are you avoiding right now? What dream are you holding back from because it feels too risky, too uncertain? Remember, every success story started with a risk, whether it's big or small, calculated or impulsive. That bold move could be the one that changes everything for you. It's not always about the guarantee of success. It's about the potential that lies in that first step. The greatest things in life often come from moments of uncertainty. The key is to act anyway. If you want to create your own story, you have to be willing to take that first bold move. It's the beginning of something incredible. Even if you don't know where it will lead, after all, a story that hasn't started isn't really a story at all. Fear is a powerful emotion and something we all experience, something that often holds us back from taking risks and stepping into the unknown. But what if, instead of seeing fear as something to avoid, we saw it as something to embrace? What if we recognized that fear isn't an obstacle, it's a signal, a compass pointing us in the direction we need to go? Think about the moments in your life when you felt fear. Maybe it's before a big presentation, a tough conversation, or the idea of changing something significant in your life. The heart races, the palms sweat, the mind starts spinning with what ifs. What if I fail? What if they don't like it? What if I can't handle it? These are all natural responses to stepping outside of what's familiar and comfortable. But more often than not, fear isn't an indicator to stop. It's an indicator to move forward. David Goggins, someone who's pushed his body and mind to limits most people wouldn't even attempt, talks about fear all the time. To him, fear isn't something to be afraid of, it's something to embrace. He says the only way to grow is to put yourself in a situation where you might fail. And failing is okay because that's where the growth happens. He believes that fear, discomfort, and pain are the building blocks of strength and resilience. It's a compass that points us toward the places where we can truly evolve. Think about it. Fear often shows up when we are about to step into something new, something bigger than ourselves. Whether you're about to speak in front of a crowd, take on a new challenge at work, or start a business, fear is likely to be present. It's uncomfortable. It makes you question your abilities and your worth. But that fear also signifies that you're about to do something meaningful, something that will push you to grow. Now let's talk about what happens when we ignore fear, when we allow it to dictate our choices. Too often, we let it stop us. We turn down opportunities because we're scared of what might happen. We decide not to try because we're terrified of failure. But when you let fear control your decisions, you're also giving up the chance to learn, to grow, and to experience life at its fullest. Fear is only powerful when you allow it to paralyze you. If you choose to face it head on, it loses its grip on you. Fear also teaches us something important about ourselves. Every time you push through fear, you discover what you're capable of. It's like lifting weights. The weight feels heavy at first, but the more you challenge yourself, the stronger you become. Fear is the same way. It feels overwhelming at first, but as you face it repeatedly, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more confident. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. When was the last time you felt real fear? What was it that made you hesitate or question yourself? And more importantly, did you push through it, or did you allow it to stop you from trying? Fear is a gift if you know how to use it. It's a clue that you're moving towards something important. It's not trying to stop you. It's trying to show you the way. Fear is a signal that you are on the verge of growth, that you are about to step into something that can change you for the better. Instead of running away from it, lean into it. Use it as motivation. Let it fuel your courage. The truth is, fear will always be there. It doesn't magically disappear when you reach a certain level of success or confidence. But the more you understand that fear is not an enemy but a companion, the easier it becomes to push through. It's the compass that guides you, the map that shows you where the potential for growth lies. Fear doesn't define you, how you respond to it does. And if you choose to face it, to use it as a catalyst for change, you'll unlock your true potential. So the next time fear creeps in, instead of avoiding it, recognize it for what it truly is. A guide pointing you toward the next great chapter in your story. Fear isn't here to stop you. It's here to help you find your way. Failure is something that most of us fear, and understandably so. No one wants to fail. It's uncomfortable, it's discouraging, and it often feels like a personal defeat. We try to avoid it at all costs, thinking that failure is the end of the road, the point where things fall apart. But the truth is, failure is not the end of the story. It's a necessary part of it. It's a chapter that brings growth, learning, and eventually success. Think about every great story you've ever heard, whether it's a person's personal journey, a movie plot, or even a business narrative. Failure is a recurring theme. It's often the first obstacle the protagonist faces, the moment that challenges them and forces them to rethink their approach. Without failure, there would be no triumph. Without struggle, there would be no growth. It's the failures that shape us, refine us, and set the stage for something even greater. David Goggins, a man known for his extreme endurance challenges and mental toughness, has encountered failure countless times. He didn't become the motivational figure he is today by avoiding mistakes. In fact, he openly admits to failing many times before achieving anything substantial. Goggins failed the Navy SEAL training twice before finally succeeding on his third attempt. His story is full of setbacks, failures, and moments where he could have quit, but each failure didn't break him. It taught him something invaluable. What Goggins teaches us is that failure doesn't define you. It's how you respond to it that matters. Failure is not a reflection of your worth or abilities. Instead, it's an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow stronger. Every time you fail, you gain valuable insights that you would never have learned if everything had gone perfectly. You discover what doesn't work and you refine your approach. And that's where true success is built. It's important to remember that no one gets it right on the first try, or even the second. The path to success is littered with failures, missteps, and detours. Take Thomas Edison, for example. He failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. But he didn't see those failures as setbacks. He saw them as steps toward his ultimate goal. In fact, when asked about his many failures, Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Failure doesn't signal the end of the journey. It's simply a part of the process. The key is to not let failure stop you. The key is to embrace it, learn from it, and use it to fuel your determination to keep going. The people who succeed are the ones who don't give up after their first failure or even their 10th. They see failure as a stepping stone, a natural part of the learning curve, and they keep moving forward. In your own life, failure can feel crushing, especially when you pour so much time, energy, and hope into something that doesn't work out. But if you look closely, failure reveals your resilience. It shows how far you're willing to go to achieve your dreams. Every time you get back up after a setback, you become stronger. Every time you learn from your mistakes, you gain a deeper understanding of what it will take to succeed. Think about any major achievement in your life. It's likely that it didn't come without some form of failure along the way. Maybe you didn't get that job you wanted, or maybe you failed an exam. Maybe you started a project and it didn't go as planned. But if you reflect on it, those moments of failure probably taught you more than your moments of success. They pushed you to think differently, to try harder, to rethink your strategy, and to get back in the game. Failure is the character building part of the plot. It's what gives your story depth and richness. Without failure, there's no contrast, no tension, no reason to keep going. But with failure, there's a story of perseverance, of learning, and of ultimately overcoming the odds. So when failure comes, as it inevitably will, don't see it as the end. See it as part of the plot. It's the chapter that prepares you for the next one. It's the moment you learn and grow, the test that helps you become who you were always meant to be. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to propel yourself forward. After all, the greatest stories are the ones filled with failures, but also with the courage to rise above them and continue the journey. Here comes a point in everyone's life when you have to ask yourself, what do I want to leave behind? Do you want to look back on your life and know you played it safe, never taking risks or pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone? Or do you want to leave a legacy? Something that will outlive you, something that will inspire others to rise above their limitations and make their own bold moves? The choice is simple, but the path is not. It requires you to choose legacy over safety. And that is a decision that requires courage and an unwavering commitment to something greater than comfort. Playing it safe might feel like the easier route. It's familiar, it's secure, and it minimizes risk. For many people, the idea of living a life without taking any big chances seems like the most comfortable option. After all, staying within the boundaries of what you know ensures that you don't face failure, embarrassment, or rejection. It's the path that promises you a stable, predictable future. But when we choose safety over everything else, we trade in the potential for greatness. We opt for a life that might feel comfortable, but will not leave an imprint on the world. When you choose safety, you are also choosing to play small. You're choosing to avoid discomfort, to avoid the unknown, and to avoid failure at all costs. The problem with this mindset is that it leads to stagnation. You might achieve stability, but you won't achieve the growth, fulfillment, or sense of purpose that comes from stepping outside your comfort zone and taking risks. And over time, this kind of safety can feel suffocating. You'll look back and realize that you've lived in a bubble, never fully experiencing the vastness of what life has to offer. Contrast that with those who choose to prioritize their legacy. These are the people who decide that their story, their impact, and the difference they can make in the world are more important than comfort and security. They are willing to take the risks, face the failures, and endure the struggles because they understand that real success isn't measured in the absence of difficulty, but in the ability to push through it and make something meaningful of it. It's not about avoiding discomfort, but about using that discomfort as fuel for something greater. Consider someone like Oprah Winfrey, who came from humble beginnings and faced numerous obstacles throughout her life. She could have chosen the safe route, staying in an original career or staying in the shadows, but instead, she made a conscious decision to follow her passion, to take risks, and to put her story and message into the world. She's now a global icon, not because she played it safe, but because she dared to pursue a vision that seemed impossible to others. Her legacy was built on risk, on choosing to do the hard thing and face the challenges head on. Another example is Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla and SpaceX, who risked everything to pursue his dreams of electric vehicles and space exploration. There were many who doubted him, many who said his ideas were too bold or unrealistic, but he chose legacy over safety. He took financial and personal risks, and in doing so, he changed entire industries and pushed the boundaries of what's possible. These examples illustrate the power of choosing legacy. It's not always easy, and it certainly isn't comfortable, but the impact it can have is immeasurable. When you focus on what you can leave behind, on how you can inspire others, or on how you can change the world, the challenges you face along the way start to feel a lot more worthwhile. You realize that your life isn't just about making it through unscathed. It's about creating something that outlasts you. Choosing legacy over safety means living intentionally. It means understanding that your actions today have the power to shape the future, not just for you, but for others as well. It's about making decisions that might feel risky or uncertain, but knowing that they're aligned with something bigger than yourself. A purpose that drives you. At the end of your life, will you look back and say, I stayed safe, I avoided risks, and I never pushed myself? Or will you say, I lived boldly, I created something meaningful, and I left behind a legacy that inspires others to do the same? Choosing legacy over safety is the difference between fading into the background and creating a life that truly matters. It's the difference between living a quiet, safe life and living a life that leaves a mark on the world. When you make that choice, you're not just living for today, you're living for the future. And that future is what will keep your story alive long after you're gone. The larger the risk, the greater the reward. It's a simple concept, yet so often we hesitate, avoid, or shy away from the big risks because of fear. But the truth is, the bigger the risk, the deeper the impact it can have on your life and on the world around you. When you choose to take bold, uncomfortable actions, you open the door to extraordinary possibilities that would never have appeared had you stayed in your comfort zone. One of the most powerful aspects of taking a big risk is the potential to make a lasting impact. Think about the people who have changed the course of history, who've made a true difference in the world. Whether it's someone like Nelson Mandela, who risked everything for justice and equality, or Marie Curie, who risked her health to advance scientific knowledge. These individuals understood that making a real difference required more than just small, safe actions. They knew that the risks they took were necessary to achieve something monumental. Their stories are living proof that big risks lead to big rewards, not just for themselves, but for society at large. But it's not just the iconic figures who take big risks. Every time someone steps out of their comfort zone, whether it's in their personal life, career, or passions, they're past setting the stage for a deeper impact. The bigger the risk, the more likely it is that your actions will inspire others. When you challenge yourself to take a leap of faith, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple effect of courage and possibility. Consider someone who decides to quit their steady job to pursue a dream or start a business. At first, it might seem like an enormous risk. They're leaving behind the comfort of a predictable income and security. But in taking that step, they're not just changing their own life, they're also inspiring others around them to follow their own passions and take risks. It's a domino effect. When you take that leap, people around you begin to ask themselves, if they can do it, why can't I? The impact of taking a big risk goes beyond the immediate changes it brings to your own life. Often the most transformative risks are the ones that disrupt the status quo, force others to see the world differently, or challenge outdated systems. For instance, when Rosa Parks took the risk of refusing to give up her seat on a segregated bus, it wasn't just an individual act of defiance. It was a risk that ignited the civil rights movement and sparked a national conversation on racial equality and justice. Her courageous act set off a chain reaction that brought about significant social change. In a more personal sense, think about someone who decides to speak out about a difficult experience they've had. It could be about mental health, abuse, discrimination, or any other sensitive topic. By taking the risk to speak openly and vulnerably, they may fear judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. But the impact of their bravery is profound. Their decision to speak out can encourage others to share their own stories, validate their feelings, and break the silence on issues that often go unspoken. It's a powerful reminder that even personal risks, the ones that don't always seem world-changing, can still create a deep impact. The beauty of taking big risks lies in the potential for growth. The bigger the risk, the more you learn about yourself. It forces you to confront your fears, push your boundaries, and discover your true capacity for resilience. You learn what you're really made of when you step into the unknown, and that knowledge can shape your future in ways you never imagined. It's not just about the outcome, it's about the person you become along the way. That transformation is often more valuable than any external success. Of course, it's important to acknowledge that big risks don't always lead to immediate success. Sometimes the risks we take don't pan out the way we hope. But even in those moments, the impact is still profound. You've learned. You've grown. You've gained experience that will guide your future decisions. And by taking the risk in the first place, you've already set an example for others to follow. You've shown them that taking risks is part of the journey, part of the path to something greater. At the end of the day, the risks that scare you the most are often the ones that carry the greatest potential. They challenge you, change you, and in many cases help you make a lasting impact. Whether it's a risk in your career, in your personal life, or in your pursuit of a dream, the bigger the risk, the deeper the potential reward. Don't shy away from those moments. Embrace them. They are the ones that will define your story and the legacy you leave behind.